Hello, welcome back live to Westminster. You're watching The Take. Well, as we've been discussing this evening, Northern Ireland's largest unionist party is likely to hold the key to Rishi Sunak getting any deal over the protocol across the line. Now, that is because many in his own party will look to the DUP when deciding whether to approve any proposal. Now, this was the Prime Minister earlier. He was responding to the DUP leader, Sir Geoffrey Donaldson, at Prime Minister's questions.
I've heard loud and clear when he says he wants and needs these issues resolved so that he has a basis to work with others to restore power sharing, and I know that that is genuine. He raised a question of practical issues, and it is vital that these are addressed. But he also raises, Mr. Speaker, a vital question about the constitutional and legal framework in which these arrangements exist. And I can assure him that I agree. Addressing the democratic deficit is an essential part of the negotiations that remain ongoing with the European Union. And just as he has been consistent, so have I. And I can assure him that this is at the very heart of the issues that must be addressed.
Well, that was the Prime Minister a little earlier. I'm delighted to say that we do have the DUP's health spokesperson, Jim Shannon, on the programme today to give us a bit of light into what the DUP are thinking when it comes to Brexit. Before we get there, though, I would like to just reflect a bit on the news that we've had this morning about the shooting in Omagh. What do you know, if anything, about what's happened?
Probably things are very sketchy, to be honest. The reports are coming through that a police officer has been shot. I think it's in Omagh. I know Omagh very well. I was born there. Probably don't know very much about it as a wee child, but that was my area where we came from. Omagh has always been one of those historic places for me, a country town, but also the memories of the 29 people who were murdered in that IRA bomb way back some years ago. I think I just first would say my absolute thoughts, prayers of everyone, all decent people, are with that family and hope that things are okay. But it does perhaps remind us, unfortunately, that there are evil people out there who have evil intentions and they don't care who the targets are. And they've obviously chosen someone who was vulnerable at that time. And we just have to pray for his betterment and for his healing and also for the family.
Yeah, really troubling reports, as you say, coming out of County Tyrone with the shooting of that police officer. As you say, the details still coming through now. Do you think it's a reminder of the fragility of Northern Ireland and the peace there?
I think, Sophie, to be fair, over the years we've seen a dramatic change in life in the province. Many people served in the Ulster Defence Regiment, in the British Army and the police, gave their contribution, gave their lives. Myself, my own family, we've lost loved ones, dear friends as well. We always remember them, never forget them. I think they're clear issues, but it tells us what the past is like. Now, has terrorism reduced? Certainly it has. But it doesn't take a whole lot of people to keep it going. And it's quite clear to all of us that from the information we get from the police, that there's still dissident Republicans out there who are intent upon creating havoc and murder as they will. I mean, we had a bomb in last weekend as well. So there's a reminder nearly every week of something. I mean, our police are very good. Their intelligence services is excellent. They probably have infiltrated, I suspect, the dissidents to some extent. But evil people can do evil things. And tonight we've been reminded of just that.
And talk to us a bit about Omagh. You were born there, you say. It has a history, doesn't it?
A real... I suppose I always take great pleasure in telling people to come from Omagh. And Vicky Ford, the MP, by the way, the Conservative MP, she was born in Omagh as well. So we're two, I'm not sure that means Omaghanians or something. I'm not sure what their terminology would be, but we're very proud of our history. I think we often, and Omagh, even back in my umpteen years ago, was a city where there was division. But of course, in those early days back in then, I think my mother always tells me, mother's 91, still living by the way, and she always tells me that the relationship between the two communities in her days when she was small, and that wasn't yesterday, was always good. They had their differences, but they lived together. The Troubles brought change and brought difference and brought dissension and conflict. But Omagh was always a shining light, I always thought anyway, and our community that could work together and do well.
I want to talk to you a little bit about Brexit. We heard there, of course, Rishi Sunak responding to Jeffrey Donaldson of the DUP. How close are we, do you think, to a deal that could be acceptable to the DUP?
I wish it was. That's what I would say to you.
Yeah.
Reality, I don't see that at this moment. Our party has a very clear mandate. We fought an election on it. We've a mandate to deliver to the people, and we're honest people, and I believe in honesty in politics, as our party does. I think we have to ensure that what we have as a mandate is delivered. We have a 7-point plan. Jeffrey Donaldson has given incredible leadership, and he's very clear. And we had a parliamentary meeting this week, and he was as clear as can be. No doubt. 7-point plan. That's what we need to address. How far are we getting there on that 7-point plan? 3.5, yeah.
Really? Halfway, you think, then?
Possibly
50%?
4, yeah. But it's not about, are we 3/4 of the way there? Are we almost there?
You've got to have the whole lot.
It's not about that. There's clear issues. When you heard, I heard what Jeffrey said. I was sitting beside him, but I heard his comment, and he referred to the constitutional position. There's big issues. I mean, I suspected the things that they're able to address are the small mechanical issues, the mechanism of how something would work. You know, those are the small fry ones. Big issues are constitutional position of Northern Ireland. Jeffrey said the other day. Other big, massive issue is the European Court of Justice. Yeah. Authority must always lie with must lie with that place there. Must lie with Westminster, not with Brussels. Final decision, and anything that we don't agree with has to come back to the sovereign power, and the sovereign power is Westminster.
You see, listening to Jeffrey Donaldson, he said, obviously, as you're saying there, that it would be unacceptable for EU laws to be imposed on Northern Ireland, so that the jurisdiction of the European Courts of Justice, a red line. He also said that the treaty needs to be rewritten. Now, frankly, the EU isn't going to agree to that, is it? So it feels to me like there isn't going to be a deal that the DUP will agree to. Right?
Well, Sophie, I'm the eternal optimist. In life, I always, and all my life, always tried to be the half-glass full person rather than the half-glass empty. In this one, I find it very difficult to see it as half-glass full because I don't see an agreement imminent.
But not just imminent. I mean, the EU said it won't agree to those things, so it's not going to happen, right?
Well, if the EU don't adjust their demands in a way that gives us, as part of the United Kingdom, the same rights. I said at the day in the Commons, and I always remembered Margaret Thatcher's comments, where she said, Ulster's as British as Finchley. Well, no, it's not. Not anymore under the present agreement. So I want to see us having the same rights in Northern Ireland as they have in London and Cardiff and Plymouth and Newcastle, and indeed in Edinburgh and Glasgow as well.
I guess the difficulty, right, is if the UK isn't part of the European Union anymore, there needs to be a border, right? Mm-hmm. Where is that border going to be?
Well, I mean, we were able in the past to have the border on land where we as the United Kingdom were part, we in Northern Ireland were part of the United Kingdom. I think that's where if it's going to be a border, that's where it needs to be, not down
so on the island of Ireland?
On the island of Ireland, yes.
I mean, that is going to be, for many people, just something that they would never countenance because of the history, right?
Yeah, but I think we've got to remember, Sophie, that the border that was a very porous border anyway. Very, very few custom checks on it.
But it doesn't matter at the time. Did it? Because we were part of the single market.
Yeah, but I'm old enough to as a child, but my mum and dad are. My dad's dead now, but my mother's still living, and she's old enough to remember the border. My dad was from Donegal, my mother was from Clary over outside Strabane. So the border was, I know there's a difference of the Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, but let's be honest, it was never that hard. There's a way of doing things. I think look, there's always a solution. The solution in this lies with Europe. And it lies clearly, the ball's at their toes. We're going to play football. then they've got to play it right.
I want to talk to you a little bit about number 10 and Rishi Sunak, and because it does make me wonder whether there's been a bit of political naivety here from number 10. Do you think they should have involved the DUP a bit earlier, I guess, in some of these discussions?
Well, yes, as simple as that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should have. To suddenly descend from on high in Belfast and Friday week, last week, with the conceived plan that they thought that they could then deliver without us knowing in any discussions, any talks with what was going on. I would wish Rishi Sunak well. I hope and pray that he can deliver an agreement, but the reality is that, I mean, so far, we don't include the main participants in the process, and it's not a visit on a Friday with a chomping around with 5 parties to tell them, oh, by the way, guys, here's what I've got. What do you think? No, well, I'll tell you what, we're quite clear what we think. 7-point plan, address the issue of the European Court of Justice, and ensure that we're as British in Northern Ireland, which I don't just feel, my constituents don't feel, that and unionists don't feel at this moment in time.
I guess some people on the opposite side of the argument might be thinking, look, the current situation, there are issues with the current situation. Right now, Stonewall isn't even functioning. There isn't even a functioning government in Northern Ireland. Isn't it time for the DUP to compromise a bit as well? Are you making perfect the enemy of good?
We're starting off with good, so we're not making any perfect enemy of good, because we believe that we have a mandate to deliver a constituent base.
But do you have a mandate to deliver? You don't have a majority on the Assembly in favour of the protocol.
Well, we have, and within the unionists, every unionist that there is at the Northern Ireland Assembly are opposed to the protocol. So from a unionist, Tony Blair, 2 examples, Tony Blair, Bertie Ahern, both of them have said there can be no deal without the participation and full involvement of unionists. Up until now, we haven't had that full involvement. So I think we're at a stage where if prominent politicians here and the United Kingdom, but also in Ireland, are indicating that we have to be part of that process. You can deliver whatever you want if government wishes to, but if we aren't bought into that process, the unionist people aren't bought into that process, then it's doomed for failure.
Now, I want to ask you the question that David Blevins suggested to me when I said that you were coming on. He said that I should ask you, what do you regret the most? Supporting Brexit, which meant that there would have to be a border somewhere, or not voting for the Theresa May deal when you had the chance?
I heard you, and I heard him. I was thinking about it, and here's what I'm going to say to you, and all honesty, we're all in or we're all out. It's not a hokey cokey. You can't make your mind up. I'm in, I'm out, I'm shaking it all about. That's not how it works. We're all part of the United Kingdom, Great Britain and Northern Ireland within Brexit, or we're not all together. So my answer to that one is we wish to be. I love my Britishness. Whenever I first came to Parliament, I was one of the first guys that always people referred to the United Kingdom. I always referred to the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. And that mantra and them words were a reminder to many in the chamber. It's very, very much, that's what it is for me. It's that for my constituents. So what do we regret the most? Well, neither of them were good. And if they're not good, then we're not going to buy into it. So we're not in, but we want to be alongside what Boris Johnson and his constituents have in London and what they have in Newcastle and what they have in Cardiff, what they have in Glasgow and Edinburgh. Is that too much to ask for the unionist population? Okay. This can never succeed if there's no buy-in from unionism.
OK, thank you very much indeed for being on the show. Thank you.
Thank you very much.